Did they stop here? No. They knew that human mind is so complex that it needed many solutions at different levels to calm them when it comes to God. In fact, you'll be stunned at the number of interventions that was ideated, designed, positioned to make the society secular and peaceful. The next feature, according to me, is the most remarkable feature and the boldest statement ever made in world's history. What exactly did our rishis, sages declare, and why is it considered as one of the most profound and high-risk philosophical statements in history? They said, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. Truth is one, the wise call it by many names. This idea is captured in the phrase Sarva Dharma Sambhav, equal respect for all religions. All gods, all religions and all paths ultimately lead to the same truth is what they said. At first glance, this might seem like a simple, even obvious statement, but it is anything but ordinary. In fact, it stands as one of the most daring proclamations ever made in the realm of religious thought. Why? Because in saying this, our rishis did not merely tolerate other faiths, they embraced them. They placed all paths to the divine on equal footing, and in doing so, they took the highest risk possible. The risk of dismantling exclusivity, of decentralizing spiritual authority, and for allowing space for the other to belong. Let me explain this in a different context for better understanding. Consider this. Consider this. Has any professional, business, or global brand ever made such a claim? Take, for example, two car manufacturing companies. Even if both produce vehicles within the same engine specifications, same displacement, torque, horsepower, fuel injection system, etc., would either company ever publicly admit that a competitor's car engine is identical to theirs and that there is no difference between their cars? Absolutely not. Or consider two service-based firms, consulting agencies, law firms, or tech companies. Even if they offer the same solutions, same features with similar pricing and outcomes, no one would say that there is no difference between us and that we both are the same and offer the same services. The very structure of competition in business, politics, and even academia thrives on differentiation, exclusivity, and self-promotion. Yet, in this one instance, that too in the sacred domain of religion, which is so often a source of division, our sages have chosen a different path. They made a declaration not of superiority but of equivalence, not of exclusion but of inclusion. This was not just humility, it was civilizational courage. Can you see the profound risk behind this bold declaration? Let me try to highlight the extraordinary risk inherent in the statement that all gods are the same. When a faith publicly declares that its God is no different from others, it exposes itself to a series of significant vulnerabilities, and it risks losing its distinctiveness, its perceived authority, its uniqueness, the very features that make it compelling, such as inclusivity, pluralism, and openness. It can begin to appear diluted and even its followers. Why? Because human psychology is wired to respond to strength, to certainty, and to distinction. We are instinctively drawn to leaders, products, and ideas that are presented as bold, confident, and unique. So when a belief system emphasizes sameness over supremacy, it may be wrongly interpreted as being uncertain, indecisive, or lacking conviction. This is the paradox. A tradition that says that all paths leads to the same truth might even appear less assertive, even though it is in reality far more evolved and confident to say that. Such a declaration would be impossible to make unless the tradition behind it possessed an expansive worldview, profound philosophical depth, spiritual maturity, respect for human diversity, and a truly universal vision. It is able to make such a bold and generous statement because it is at its core universal. It does not seek to dominate, it seeks to harmonize. It does not serve one region or one group. It speaks to the human condition itself across boundaries of culture, geography, and time. See the dazzling and the stratospheric level display of clairvoyance, inclusivity, respect for other faiths, care for humanity, and the amount of latitude given to us while choosing God, faith, and religion. One must understand that while positioning gods in our country, we did not have any other gods, faith, religion, etc. to compare or to benchmark since we were the earliest civilization. And the field was left open for us to frame either very lenient rules or strict rules like death to non-believers, death to atheists, death to transgenders, and that one must convert others, etc. Our rishis and sages could have debranded other faiths, other gods which were not around then, but might sprout in the future as false, devilish, and proclaim that our God is the only true God, thereby completely closing the doors of all other faiths. And there would not have been any remote dissent for any of our policies then. But lo and behold, our sages gave legitimacy to other faiths and gods, and what is amazing is that acceptance was given without any comparative study, no idea of their belief systems, no idea of the traditions, of the practices, their treatment of other faiths, their treatment of other gods, treatment of women, nature, animals, etc. Normally, acceptance follows a study and comparison. Only after examining alternatives do we concede that despite differences, another product or services may still be considered, that too only in an emergency, and even then only as a last resort. Yet our sages did something far more extraordinary. Long before other organized faiths had emerged, before texts such as the Bible or the Quran had even appeared, when comparison itself was impossible, they made the astonishing assertion that all gods are the same. Consider the contrast. Even within the same faith or ideology, the slightest difference ignites conflicts and violence. Yet here, the differences were a full 360 degrees apart, and still they were accepted without hesitation. This is what you call as the intellectual audacity and civilizational wisdom of the highest order. Please remember that Sanatana Dharma needs no comparison to accept other faiths or gods. This is philosophy. And that is why we Indians have philosophy and not ideology. The difference between philosophy and ideology is that ideology says that I'm right and it is you who's wrong, whereas philosophy says I'm right and you too may be right in a way I don't understand or have experienced. This is the difference. Ideology divides humanity, philosophy expands it. This is Sanatana Dharma, this is Hindutva, this is India, this is Hinduism, this is Indian civilization, and this is why Indians are not just secular but doctrinally secular. Lo and behold, instead of appreciating and being awed by this brilliance, we are criticized and ridiculed for having so many gods, for idol worship, etc. Believe it or not, even after knowing all our belief systems, logic, tradition, practices, our acceptance of all gods, all faiths unconditionally, we are still being called as heathens and kafirs, and the major religions still do not accept that all paths leads to the same God. Have you ever thought about it, contemplated about it, took cognizance of it, appreciated it, felt proud about it, discussed it, told the world about it, the greatness of Sanatana Dharma, the greatness of Hindutva, the greatness of Hinduism, the brilliance of our rishis, the brilliance of our sages? Nothing whatsoever.